Okay, thank you very much, Alan. Each year, the Kurt Schork Memorial Fund awards 2 prizes to honour outstanding and courageous journalism, and it seems quite strange standing here. This evening we're presenting the 7th annual awards. That was quite a shock when I counted the numbers back. During those 7 years, Sabina and Kurt's friends have put enormous effort into fundraising to keep these awards alive, and to ensure that we have a lasting memorial in the world of journalism to Kurt's memory. And you probably know this, but the driving force is Sabina. But I'd also like to pay tribute to the tireless commitment of Christiane Ananpour, who many of us are friends. She can't be with us this evening, but also to Reuters. Kurt worked for Reuters, and it's a fact we wouldn't have been able to set up these awards and continue them without the continual backing of Reuters, and without the personal commitment of many of its journalists, many of whom here today, and its chief executive, Tom Gloser himself. So let me also take the opportunity to thank this year's judges. We've got 2 of them at least in the audience here, Ben Brown and Christina Lamb. Thank you, Christina. Roy Greenslade and Aung Zhao. And having done my own share of award judging, I can say we appreciate that and we feel your pain, as Clinton would say. We'll get back to that quickly, I suspect, from the White House. And so to the prizes. The goal is to honour journalists in Kurt's memory, but also, and I think this is sometimes forgotten, the award is aimed at providing financial assistance to those 2 groups of journalists who are so often overlooked. We've heard the local journalists and the freelancers. And so, without further ado, the 2008 prize for the best freelance entry is awarded to Nicholas Schmidle. Now, if you'd like to come up here, please. I'll say a few words. So I'll be back there. Just hang on a sec. We'll do it in a minute. We rehearse this, but not always. So Nicholas is a fellow at the New America Foundation in Washington, D.C. He's currently writing a book about his experiences in Pakistan. To Live or to Perish Forever. Is that a working title, or is it the real thing?
It's the real thing.
It's the real thing. Okay. This prize is awarded for a body of reporting which ranges from tribal insurgency in Pakistan to the depth and breadth of Iranian influence in Western Afghanistan. And the publication of the piece Next Gen Taliban in the New York Times led the government to deport him and his wife from Pakistan in January this year. And you can read those articles on the website. The judges said that they particularly appreciated the way in which he disaggregated Muslim fundamentalism. His mix of detailed information with historical context gave a wonderful sense of being there. So, congratulations.
I'll just say something very, very briefly. That is that thank you all, both IWPR and Kurt Schork Memorial. This is a fantastic honor. In the 2 years that I was living in Pakistan, from February of '06 until January of '09, I, in several different reading experiences, became acquainted with Kurt Schork, mostly through the work of Anthony Lloyd and through Chris Hedges. And it was curious because at the time I was out to prove myself and to sort of show anyone who wanted to read that I could also do sort of dangerous, engaging, wild journalism. And it's funny, so that was, and the image of Kurt that was created in those pages was that of a very, very much of a larger-than-life, fearless, renegade, sort of uber war correspondent, if you will. And someone who bucked against the journalist establishment at every turn. It's funny because when I came back and when I emailed some friends after I'd received the award, and one of them wrote back to me immediately, who knew Kurt very well from Sarajevo. His name was Tom Jelton, who's now with NPR. And he wrote to me that we met a few, he said, this is fantastic, and all the more fantastic because, all the more important and meaningful and significant because I knew Kurt so well. We met a few nights earlier, about 2 weeks ago, and Tom backed up the claims that Kurt was aggressive and enterprising, and yes, quite fearless. But he also reiterated both Kurt's humility and his compassion towards his subjects, and which is something I think that's often absent from this field, and which, of all the descriptions I've heard, I think that I probably admire and aspire towards the most, that humility and that compassion. So thank you all again. I appreciate it, and yeah, we'll have a good night.